Apartment dwellers of Reddit, what secrets have you learned about your neighbors through your paper-thin walls? NSFW. Years ago I lived in an apartment with the thinnest walls I've ever encountered. I could hear everything and my neighbor and his girlfriend were quite active to say the least. One day I started thinking, her voice sounds different. Oh, sure enough, the next day the girlfriend comes over and they had a huge fight. I don't know how she found out, but she found out pretty quickly. Some jerk who lives right above me is a lot louder than he seems to think he is. Just the other night, I learned he's quitting alcohol and switching to wine. That the cop next door is way too nosy. The kids who lived above me used to throw parties all the time. Loud music, drunken yelling, the works. He thought it was me, and apparently my RFDC shirt, a parody of the AC/DC logo but for a science thing, was proof enough. He called the cops on me one night when the kids threw a party again. I opened my door in my Star Wars pajamas to two uncomfortable looking cops. They take one look at me, apologized, and explained the mistake. I found out later it was my neighbor when he got in my face about the noise I was making. It was my sewing machine, at 2 in the afternoon. X and I heard neighbors going at it, younger couple around our age. Their bedroom against our bedroom, layouts are mirrored. We laughed really hard about it at first, then it got really annoying. So we basically started making all the intercourse noises at the same time they did. After about couple months of doing the noises to them, I ran into the neighbor getting mail and we both cracked up hard. Came to find out they had heard us having intercourse first and started making noises, which we thought was them having sex, so for the past few months the four of us were literally laying in bed making intercourse noises at each other through the walls. Everyone seems to have neighbors who frick a lot. I heard my neighbors get into a fight because she won't have intercourse with her husband anymore. I learned that my neighbor is a nice guy and a good father. I always hear him and his wife playing with their baby and being goofy. It's really cute and a nice change from my last neighbors who would scream and beat each other. My neighbor has a promising career in opera. Unfortunately, it isn't a secret since the whole apartment can hear it. But apparently my next door neighbor likes to watch Michael Bay movies at full volume. It turns out that they don't spend any time in their apartment and instead have hour-long conversations outside my free CKING door in the hallway. Just got my first solo apartment and I'm loving it. Most of the people are my age and really cool, but there is this needle-thin probably 50-60 older woman that walks the halls day and night. Every single day, she waits for people to come out of their apartment and then sparks up very strange conversations. Looked out my window the other night at about 1 AM and she's wandering around the parking lot picking up cigarette butts and smoking them. Edit. I am always nice and patient with her and as she may have early signs of dementia like people keep telling me, I really think that she had just made some very poor life decisions when she was younger. I don't know a lot about dementia or Alzheimer's, but I do not necessarily think that's the full case. She could just be a very odd individual. He's horrifyingly inappropriate and violent when playing games online. I hope that's what he's doing. I used to hear my neighbors freaking. Then two 22-year-old guys moved in, who are pretty cool. As far as I know, one goes out with his girlfriend a lot, the other plays hours of Rocket League. I like the second guy better. I don't know if this is a secret, but I heard the dude trying to kill his GF. Called the police. Dude left in handcuffs. A few stories come to mind. Older couples in their 70s lived on second floor. They would cook me food, I would shovel their cars out in the winter. Here's the fun part. They had the loudest intercourse several times a week. God bless their vigor. Made a new friend in one apartment by having the smell of dank weed seep into my apartment walls in a duplex. Currently living next to a rock star who unknowingly serenades me every so often when he's preparing for a gig. All in all, I've had a good run. There was 2 women that lived above me, college aged, same as me and my roommate. You could hear everything through the floor. Everything. The woman above me had lots of intercourse, and that's fine. But it was always loud and it was always at 4 AM or 5 AM or some shit. I had to work early a lot of days, so it was really fucking irritating. So one night, I stand on my bed and hit the ceiling with my shoe and ask them to quiet down. The noise stops but the talking starts. Guy, did you hear that? I think someone was talking to us. Girl, Now, the dude downstairs is probably watching TV. Me, I am talking to you. The people on the 3rd floor. Freaking loudly. Please be quiet. I gotta work in a couple hours. Guy number 2. He's definitely talking to us. Girl. No, he isn't. Me. Wait. 2 guys. Guy number 3. Number. There's 3 of us. I think my upstairs neighbor enjoys having animalistic sexual intercourse. Seriously, it sounds like a damn herd of elephants sometimes. It's either a fight club or an orgy club. I'm in a dorm. I know everything about the love life of my 3 neighbors, mostly because they tend to shriek about it at 2 AM. Also, I know that I can take them down with glitter, as the one time someone put balloons and glitter on their door it started a screaming match between the girls that lasted all day. I have plans. Edit. To everyone saying do it, give me like 2 weeks. It's the start of spring break right now. Edit again. Current quote from them: oh my god, he looks so frickin' weird. Oh my god, it is currently 10:23 PM in the middle of finals week. I hate everything. Yes, and ask Reddit I have a good story for. So, I used to live in this very hip, loft style apartment building. It attracted a lot of young people. The people in the apartment next to me were college students. The walls were so thin if they were having a conversation on speakerphone in their living room I could hear 75% of the conversation. It sucked. But once you got used to it, it wasn't a huge deal. One night a friend and I come back, rather late, from a night at my local watering hole and we can hear the guy next door getting lucky. We both giggle to ourselves, but whatever. Good for him. I go into my room to crash and my buddy hits the couch. A few seconds later we both hear as clear as day a girl's voice saying, I won't lick your butt but I will give you head. My buddy and I both start laughing our butts off. Dude next door pounds a few times on the wall and yells, hey man, give me some space, good times. I had cops called on me for suspected domestic abuse when I was fresh out of college. I lived alone at the time and what happened was I beat the shit out of my box fan after a 5-game losing streak on CI Ladder Reddit. For those wondering, the box fan did not press charges but no longer lives with me either. Edit 2. Half of the Reddit gold I have is because of CI comments. Thanks guys. When I was younger, I moved into this new apartment complex. First night there, it started, intercourse noises. Every night around 11 PM I hear this couple having intercourse. Loud intercourse. I admit that I found it a bit entertaining, because it never went on for too long, until a couple weeks later. I see the guy walking out of his apartment, 75 years old and quite husky. Nobody was having intercourse. I was listening to his porn over surround sound. Here's a fun story. Husband and I moved into a townhouse. Old building from 1920. Brick walls between units. We didn't hear a thing from the neighbors. Like literally no sounds at all. We weren't even sure anyone was living next door until we met them because it was so quiet. So, we figured the soundproofing was excellent. Husband and I were never quiet. We had no reason to be. We have 2 AM dance parties in our kitchen screaming to outcast as loud as we possibly could. Then, the neighbors moved out and a new couple moved in. The second they showed up, we heard everything they did. Every single quiet conversation. Every time someone closed a cabinet. Every tiny sound we heard. It was not soundproof. The first couple was just incredibly quiet and we were huge, gigantic jerks. It's been years and I still feel bad. Holly would have conversations with herself all the time. She would scream a lot too. Mostly about zombies and the native warlord that sent people to kill her. One day she apparently got locked out of her apartment trying to find the bathroom, broke the window by the back door to the building and pulled the fire alarm at 3 AM. She got a 7-day eviction notice and a social worker took her away. The apartment manager told me she had schizophrenia and he thought she had a caretaker living with her but she didn't. My only conversation with her, she told me she would die for me. It was insanely creepy. The course of a year, my next door neighbor has broken up with her boyfriend 6 times and had very loud makeup intercourse 6 times. Learned that my, now former, neighbor is an unmedicated paranoid schizophrenic. Getting woken up at 3 AM with him screaming about the FBI watching him and racist rants was tons of fun. Wow, that was really something. My neighbors seemed to use power tools in the middle of the night. Strange.